Japan is the #1 market for Nebraska beef and beef products. We explain that relationship in detail on our May 8th episode. Through the first 4 months of the year, exports from Nebraska to there are up 17% compared to the same time frame in 2014. As we've told you previously, after discovery of BSE in the U.S. in 2003, Australia became Japan's top supplier of beef. It now has a significant tariff advantage when shipping beef to Japan, thanks to the Japan-Australia Economic Partnership Agreement, or EPA. However, a favorable Trans-Pacific partnership could help even out the competition. During our trip to Japan in late April, we talked with Cargill's Tatsuo Ishii about beef trade, starting by looking at how BSE impacted the Japanese market for U.S. products.
Well, just looking at all the import quantity in Japan, actually the historically high level of imports was recorded back in 2000, and at that time the total consumption of beef went over 1 million metric ton here, and then 2001 we had a BSE case in Japan that reduced the total consumption, and then 2003 another big case in the U.S. of the BSE, and that further shrunk the beef consumption overall. So, U.S. BSE case really hit here, not just for our business, but entire beef consumption so much.
Has the level got back to where it was before?
Unfortunately, we haven't yet, but what I mean is that we are in the process of recovering it. Because December 2003, after that, we actually couldn't import any beef from the U.S., and in 2006, we are allowed to import, but with severe restriction of the age, which namely either 21 months or under. And then in February 2013, we get that restriction loosened to a 30 months or under, so that we are approaching to the level.
How big of a deal for a company like Cargill? How big of a deal was the 30-month and under approval?
That's pretty big deal for us because of the age restriction. Prior to, we call it the UTM, under 30 months. When we had an age restriction age 21 months or under, I say about only 15% of the total kill that we are processing in our plants are available for this market. But change it to 30 months or under, it went up to 95% of the total the cattle that we are producing. So that nowadays, actually, I say all the cattle that we are processing in our plants can be exported to Japan.
You have a plant in Schuyler, Nebraska. Is it known here that beef from Nebraska has a certain quality, or do restaurants and businesses know of beef from Nebraska? You're right.
Yes, people here actually prefers beef from Nebraska, or we call it the northern part of the U.S. Because maybe traditionally it's a cattle type, somewhat different from the one in the Texas or South, and also at least the people in the market understand that the feeders in Nebraska is relatively small, so that the customers' image to those small feeders is that the owner of the feeders takes a better care on the cattle, which may be right, may be wrong, I don't know. But that's the image that our customers has, so that they had a pretty good image for cattle from raised in Nebraska, and then beef processed in a plant in Nebraska.
Japan's already a big importer of beef and pork, but can they grow the market even further?
Yes, definitely. We believe that the market for beef here in Japan is growing, especially for imported beef, because there are several reasons, but just looking at the domestic beef production, that's really kind of matured and then saturated, and thinking about the producers right now here in Japan, cattle producers right now is getting old, and they're having some issues with the successors. So that I cannot expect so much growth in the domestic production, or rather, in fact, it's going to be slightly shrinking year by year. So that even though the beef market is stable like that, and less domestic production means there's an opportunity for people like us.
In the beef trade, outside of strictly meat, what other products from the animal is Japan a big buyer of?
I say with the confidence that tongue is one of the biggest items that Japan is actually contributing for U.S. Beef industry. I don't have any exact numbers or figures, but I say more than 80% of the total production of tongue actually is coming to this market.
How much value does that add to the animal for the farmer in the U.S.?
That's a lot. That's a lot. Just thinking about what we are currently selling at is, and then 3 pounds per ton. Just simple multiplication and simple math tells me at least $10, somewhere between $10 to $15 a head by just selling the ton to this market is a gain for the producers.
What would TPP do for this market?
Oh, that's going to be a great deal for us. Right now, one of the issues that we are struggling right now is the competition with the Aussie beef, because Australia got the EPA already signed with the Japanese government, and so that they have a 8 to 10% tariff advantage right now. So, if we offer the same price, Aussie always gets a better deal for our customers, so that we are facing a big trend that this shift of the demand from U.S. beef to Aussie beef. Not only with that, but that's one of the reasons, so that once the TPP is signed up, at least we can fight with our competitors at the even field. That's a very good deal for us.